The room is cold, not from the wind outside, but from the silence inside. A silence that hangs between you, thick and heavy with unspoken words. She isn't yelling. She doesn't have to. A single tear traces a perfect, glistening path down her porcelain cheek. And in that silence, you hear your sentence. Guilty. You are found guilty of what you're not entirely sure, but her pain is the evidence, the judge and the jury. You try to speak, to defend yourself, but your words feel like stones, clumsy and brutal, thrown against her beautiful, fragile sorrow. So you fall silent, you apologize, you retreat, because the cost of your truth is her tears, and you have been taught that her tears are a price you can't afford to pay. This scene, in its countless variations, becomes the landscape of your life, a desolate territory where you are always the trespasser, and she is the wounded queen. You begin to walk on eggshells, each step a careful calculation to avoid triggering another tremor of her sorrow. Your own needs, your own voice, are buried under the weight of her perceived fragility. Your joy feels like a betrayal, a promotion at work, a laugh with a friend. These moments are tinged with guilt. How can you be happy when she is so sad? This is not an accident. This is not a coincidence. This is psychology. And you are caught in one of its most elegant, most devastating traps. It is called the victim narrative. And it is perhaps the single most powerful weapon of covert psychological control. Unlike overt aggression, which is easy to identify and defend against, the victim narrative is a ghost. It operates in the shadows of human decency. It weaponizes your best qualities, your empathy, your compassion, your desire to be a good person. It turns your own goodness into the bars of your prison. Here is the truth. By perpetually casting herself as the fragile, wounded party, the manipulator creates an unassailable moral high ground. She is always the victim. Therefore, she can never be the aggressor. Her actions, no matter how controlling or demanding, are framed as cries for help. And if she is the victim, what does that make you? By default, you are cast in the opposing role. You are the source of the pain, the careless one, the villain. Your needs become selfish. Your boundaries become attacks. Your desire for autonomy becomes abandonment. The victim narrative is emotional quicksand. The more you struggle, the more you try to justify your actions, the faster you sink into the role she has created for you. Let's make this real, but let's talk about James and Eleanor. When James met Eleanor, he was captivated by what he saw as her beautiful vulnerability. She seemed like a bird with a broken wing, and he wanted, more than anything, to be the one to heal her. In the beginning, it was intoxicating. He was her hero. He listened to her stories of past hurts, of betrayals, of a world that was just too harsh for her sensitive soul. He felt strong, he felt needed, but soon the dynamic began to shift. The healing never quite happened. The broken wing never mended. Her past sorrows became a permanent weather system over their lives. Small things began to happen. James planned a night out with his friends. An hour before he was to leave, Eleanor grew quiet. Her eyes welled up. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing," she whispered, a universe of pain in that single word. "It's just, I had a bad feeling. Go, have fun, I'll be fine." He didn't go. How could he? Leaving would have made him the monster who abandoned the sad, fragile woman for his own selfish pleasure. He stayed. He soothed her. He felt like a good man. This became the pattern. A job offer in another city? "I couldn't survive without my support system," she'd cry. "But don't let me hold you back." A new hobby he was excited about. "It's just, we have so little time together as it is." The subtext was always the same. "Your life is hurting me." James's world shrank until it was the size of her needs. He became an expert in anticipating her moods, in navigating her emotional minefield. He forgot what his own landscape even looked like. He wasn't her partner anymore. He was her emotional caretaker, a zookeeper for her sorrow, and he was exhausted, hollowed out, a ghost in his own life. And then, one day, the crack appeared. It came from an unlikely source, a casual question from his brother over a rare phone call.
"Hey," his brother said, "Eleanor sounds like she's having a tough time. But James, when was the last time she asked how you were doing?"
Silence. James had no answer. He searched his memory, a dusty archive of conversations, of late-night comforting, of apologies for crimes he hadn't committed. He found nothing, not once. In years of caretaking, not once had the patient asked the doctor how he was feeling. The question unraveled him. It was a key he never knew he was missing. He started to see, not with his heart, which had been clouded by pity for so long, but with his mind. Her bad days always seemed to coincide with his good news. Her anxiety attacks flared up whenever he tried to carve out a small piece of independence. Her tears were not just expressions of sadness. They were a tool, a currency, a perfectly calibrated weapon deployed to manage his behavior, to keep him in orbit around her. He saw that her fragility was not a weakness. It was her armor, her fortress. It was the source of her immense silent power. This is the great unmasking. The moment you realize you are not fighting a person's sadness, you are fighting a strategy. This realization is not about blaming a genuine victim. It is about identifying a performance. It's about distinguishing between a person who is drowning and a person who is holding your head underwater while telling you they can't swim.
So what do? You cannot win the game by her rules. Arguing is futile. Apologizing is surrender. Your only move is to stop playing.
You must reclaim your narrative. This begins with a boundary, not a loud, angry wall, but a quiet, firm line. A simple no. You must accept that when you set a boundary, she will likely escalate. The tears will become a flood. The accusations will grow sharper. She will paint you as the cruelest villain imaginable. This is the final test, to stand in the storm of her manufactured pain and hold on to your own truth, to know that your self-preservation is not an act of aggression. True compassion is not setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, especially when you realize they are the one holding the match. The victim narrative is a prison for two. She is trapped by her refusal to take responsibility, and you are trapped by your willingness to take it for her. Freeing yourself is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of truth. It is the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself, and perhaps even for them, because your life is not a supporting role in someone else's tragedy, it is the main story. And it is time you started writing your own chapters again.